Bitcoin is trading over $62,000, hit an all-time high, and it's hard to argue with any of the momentum that's happening in Bitcoin right now. There's a ton of money flowing into Bitcoin ETFs. Investors are pushing up everything related to cryptocurrency, but I am not buying Bitcoin right here. I think there's a better investment out there. And this is a company that can ride Bitcoin's tailwinds and also has real utility, has real cash generation behind it. This isn't like buying digital gold like Bitcoin is. There is real utility in owning Coinbase stock. So I want to give a few reasons why I think Coinbase is actually a better bet today than Bitcoin. It's up more over the past year than Bitcoin, and I think that performance will continue long term. My name is Travis Hoium. Thanks for watching Asymmetric Investing. Please subscribe here on YouTube for all my content, and thanks to this video sponsor, The Motley Fool. If you go to fool.com/ASYM, they'll give you their top 10 stocks to buy right now. So let's just go through a few direct ways that Coinbase makes money off of Bitcoin. The first and most obvious recently is through ETFs. The Bitcoin ETFs need to have a custodian or somebody that holds on to the Bitcoin for them. These big banks are not doing that themselves, and these companies that are issuing ETFs, they are offloading that to companies like Coinbase. Coinbase is the custodian for most of the Bitcoin ETFs, and as a result, it has hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars now in Bitcoin that it is holding on behalf of these ETFs, and it will get a fee for that. So Bitcoin ETFs are actually a tailwind for Coinbase's revenue and earnings. The other direct impact is going to be crypto trading. In the US, Coinbase is still one of the most popular apps. It has the number 2 market share in the world for crypto trading, and Coinbase is going to make money on every single transaction that happens. It's going to make a little bit of money on institutional transactions where the company has a growing business, but it makes a significant amount of its profits from consumer crypto transactions, where you just go onto the app and say, I want to buy $100 worth of Bitcoin. There are fees that go directly to Coinbase, and that's how the company makes most of its money. Let's just go to some of the trends behind that business for Coinbase. Here's a look at Coinbase's transaction revenue. And you can see that there was a massive surge in transaction revenue during the last crypto boom market. And that makes a ton of sense because most people were trying to buy cryptocurrencies on platforms like Coinbase. And going through that crypto winter, revenue dropped like a rock down to between $300 and $400 million between mid 2022 and Q3 2023, but that really started to pick up in Q4, and that momentum will continue given the data that we have from the blockchain right now. The amount of transactions going through Coinbase are about 3 to 4 times higher now than they were just about 6 months ago. And we know that through places like CoinMarketCap, which track transaction volume on a day-to-day basis. So we'll likely see this revenue continue to jump. Just one small anecdote was this week, Coinbase actually had problems with their app. Their app went down for a little while, had zero balances in certain accounts. And what Brian Armstrong said was we saw more than a 10x increase in the amount of traffic to the app from what they normally saw. That was when Bitcoin was hitting its high. So that's the kind of volume that you're starting to see going through Coinbase, is 10x the traffic that they previously had. So that likely means that we're going to see a big jump in revenue from a transaction side because of the trading going on with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin hits all-time highs, but the benefit for Coinbase is this is a leveraged company, so revenue is going to increase, and operating income or cash flow is likely going to increase much further than that as this boom market continues. That's why you see the stock going up as much as you have over the past year, because Coinbase is going to be generating a ton of income and cash flow from the increased interest in transactions for Bitcoin on top of the ETFs. But there's more to like about Coinbase than just Bitcoin. Thanks to our friends at The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/ASYM for the top 10 stocks to buy right now. A growing business at Bitcoin is subscription and services revenue. So there's a few things that go into this, but I want to break it into 2 buckets. One is stable coin revenue. Most of this is related to the USDC token, which is a stable coin that Coinbase helps start with Circle. Circle now runs that stable coin, but Coinbase generates a significant amount of revenue. Most of that is from interest on the assets that are backing the token itself. So interest rates rise, and Coinbase is able to generate more revenue off of that. So there's a couple of ways that income grows from that side of things. One, you have more activity on the blockchain and more people using USDC tokens. That's going to increase the assets under management effectively. Or two, you see interest rates rise. And I think that's something that we've seen in 2024. So this should be another growth avenue for Coinbase. Not related to Bitcoin, but is related to growth on the blockchain, people using the blockchain more. The other thing is that Coinbase is generating a lot of revenue from other subscriptions and services. This is where the revenue from ETFs is going to fall eventually. But blockchain rewards, custodial fees, this is what's going to jump likely in Q1 2024. And then other subscription and services. So Coinbase is building all kinds of things like wallets as a service, trying to move a lot of those blockchain transactions into the background. So when you're in an app, you don't even necessarily know that you're buying an NFT or buying a cryptocurrency. You're just using an app naturally and using the blockchain and the decentralization of the blockchain to its full advantage. So this is where you're going to see more growth. And Bitcoin itself is going to be an indicator of how much interest there is in the crypto and the blockchain. But that's going to translate to more development, more real use cases, more utility. And this is where you're going to see growth at Coinbase as those things mature. So why would you want to own a stock like Coinbase over just owning Bitcoin? Well, there's so much more potential and optionality in owning a stock in a company that's doing something, generating cash, and then reinvesting that cash in growing the business long term. This has always been one of my challenges with Bitcoin and gold, which is kind of the analogous thing in the physical world, is gold doesn't really have a lot of use cases. You can't take a bar of gold and go buy something. It just sits there and it has value because people think it has value. That's not really the kind of assets that I like investing in, because I want to see tangible value that you can see, cash that's being generated, dividends that are being paid, buybacks that are being made, and growth in growing that business and the underlying utility long term. And so Coinbase provides some of that value and optionality for investors. Now, shares have been on an absolute tear recently, up about 200% over the last year or so. But I think there's still a lot of growth potential for Coinbase. And one of the indicators is the value of Bitcoin. People are pushing up the value of Bitcoin, which then pulls this entire ecosystem up with it. You can see this with the number of transactions that are going on in a number of blockchains, with the number of developers who are building for the blockchain. And the one company in public markets that is going to benefit from that, that's going to get tailwind from all of this activity, is Coinbase. That's why this is still one of the leaders in the industry today. That's why it's one of the biggest holdings that I have in my portfolio, and why it's the one stock that I'm going to buy before buying Bitcoin. But what do you think? What is your favorite play in crypto right now? This isn't the only asset that I own, but it's definitely one of the biggest, because I think there's just so many ways that Coinbase is going to benefit from crypto long term. But leave your comments and your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe to Asymmetric Investing. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you here next time.